In this video, I'm going to talk about this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's been on my shelf for a very long time, but it wasn't until March of 2023 when I actually picked it up and started reading it. And I can tell why it's the #1 personal finance book of all time. So in this book, Robert Kiyosaki talks about his two dads, his educated dad who lived paycheck to paycheck, and his rich dad who focused more on building assets and more on financial literacy. So there are quite a few lessons one can take away from this book, but I'm going to be discussing the top 5 that I found most interesting. The first is that the rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. So the normal person trades time for money, and this is what we do at our day jobs. We go in, we work certain hours, and then we get paid for it. And sometimes we work extra hours that we don't get paid for. But the rich have a different approach. They build assets, they build systems that make money while they sleep. And so money works for them. And this is the main difference Robert describes between the rich and the poor. Working for money versus money working for you. The second takeaway is the difference between being rich and being middle class. So Robert categorizes everyone into 3 groups: the poor, the middle class, and the rich. And the main difference between these 3 classes is buying assets versus buying liabilities. One big example is a residential home that a lot of people consider assets, but Robert categorizes it as a liability. And this is because it's not producing any income. To get that so-called asset, you have to get a mortgage, pay property taxes, pay for maintenance, and you're not really generating any income. You're more tied to your job because if you lose your job, you can't pay your mortgage and your house gets foreclosed on. Now, for this same house, if you were to rent a room, or if you were to get an investment property instead, you're generating income, and now this house becomes an asset. And Robert says that this is the main difference between the rich and the poor. The rich focus on building assets, not liabilities. The third is the importance of financial literacy. So in our current education system, the focus is more towards becoming an expert in a certain field so that you can get a very good job in the future. It focuses more on theory versus the practical aspects of life. The reality is, no matter how good you are in your job, if you don't know how to keep most of your money, you're never going to live comfortably, because that is the one factor that decides how comfortable you are in your life. Instead of focusing only on getting promotions after promotions, we should be learning how to keep most of our money, because with higher pay comes higher taxes and it just reduces your purchasing power. So if you're making more but not keeping more, you're in the same boat as someone who's not making a lot of money. And this can come by investing in yourself. And what that means is that go attend seminars, go attend conferences where they're talking about financial literacy, where there's a room full of people who are interested in investing, who are interested in learning more about taxes, who are interested in building more assets. When you surround yourself with these people, or when you are actually investing yourself to learn these skills, to learn about financial importance, what you are doing is learning how to keep most of your money, which at the end of the day is going to make you more rich. The fourth takeaway was the importance of a mindset shift. The book talks about how most of us are driven by fear than passion. The fear of losing our jobs, the fear of not being able to pay our bills, and just fear in general drives our day-to-day actions. The rich never say that I can't afford it. They ask themselves, how can I afford it? And I think this is a very important point in the book that all of us should adopt. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, and closing that chapter in your brain, if you ask yourself, how can I afford it? It gets you thinking of different ideas. How can you build assets? What can you do to bring some change in your life? And so a shift in mindset can really change your life. The very last takeaway is the importance of action. The book says that if you do want to change your life, you have to stop doing what you're currently doing. Sit and assess your habits, see what's working, see what's not working, and start making some changes. Even a small step in the right direction can take you very far. Robert says that the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Stop doing what is not working and look for something new. Look for different ideas. Look for people who are in a better position than you are and ask them what they're doing. Take classes, read books, attend seminars, just start making a change in your life, and you'll see that little by little, step by step, your financial future is going to start changing. So these are the 5 lessons that I learned from this book. And if you are somebody who feels stuck in their financial situation, I would say give this book a read and you'll learn a lot and maybe start making some changes in your life as well.